Today I'll be showing you how to paint stone texture, and for this example I'm going to use the larger European house, and we're going to work towards a stone colour for the stonework on the building. Yeah, as you can see, I've base coated everything beforehand using the same dark brown, and yeah, I'm just going to work towards getting this into a nice sort of sandy stone. And I'm going to use raw sienna as the first level of dry brush to start building up to the stone colour that I'm after. Okay. I'm going to try and keep this video a little bit shorter today. You don't need to see everything. I'll just work on a couple of surfaces and just discuss it as I'm doing it, and then turn the movie off and go for finish off the rest of the building. Okay, as you can see, this is the raw sienna is quite a lighter brown, and it doesn't cover particularly well on this darker base coat, so we'll have to give it at least 2 coats, but that's fine. I often find just building up to a colour or colours can actually give it more depth and realism as you go along. And yeah, so yeah, sometimes just that extra bit of time getting the various things painted is what you need. Yeah, you'll note that my brush isn't particularly dry for dry brushing. I've got quite a bit of paint on here and it's pulling up on some of the surfaces, which is a bit of a pain, but that's okay. Really, I'm just wanting to keep just the tiniest bit of that dark brown base coat in the very deepest crevices, and then try and work up to a nice light tan. Okay, next I'm going to move on to yellow oxide. This is going to be just to brighten up the stonework a bit, and yeah, just to bring out help bring out the detail. It's just the same process as before, but I'm going to use a bit of a lighter dry brush this time. Trying not to get so far down into the detail that I start losing the detail that I've already brought out. Okay, and just like before, I'm just going to carry on with the rest of these walls and get them all to the same standard. If you're having trouble getting your paint dry between coats, and I am today because we've just had a big storm come through and the temperature's dropped, you can use a heat gun or hairdryer to accelerate the curing of the acrylic paint to make sure that it's ready to accept the next layer. If you don't let it cure properly, quite often you will have the moisture from the coat that you're putting on penetrate the underlying coat and cause the underlying coat to soften, and you end up starting to pull the paint off the model, and that's obviously not good. So a little bit of work with the hot gun can really pay dividends to help speed up the curing time on the model. and make sure that you get a good quality paint finish. Okay, next up is working with the almost last layer of dry brushing, and for this again I'm going to use the sand paint, but we're going to put this on pretty light because we're going to do the same ink washing that we did with the brick building. Alright, just a nice light dry brush with the sand. And again, remember that the paint's going to dry slightly darker than what it appears when you first put it on the model. And here we're really just building up the layers of colour in the model before we get to the inking layer. Again, as with the brick building, I'm going to give this a light dry brush of the sand again over top of the inkwork and this layer of dry brushing, just to tie everything together and bring the model together as a whole. Alright, so now I'm working on the corner detail, the brickwork detail, and again I'm just going to use sand for this so that we keep the sort of the colour palette quite coordinated. We're using sand for our final dry brush, and I might add a little bit of white to the final dry brush to really sort of just lift these corner bricks as well. I'm going to try and put a bit of ink over the top of these corner bricks to give them a bit of depth. Once I get them all done. But again, it's just a case of just getting your detail painted, and again it's a case of just working out the sort of colour scheme and palette you want to work with. Yeah. So these sort of represent, I guess, this colour represents sort of limestone corner blocks, maybe nice light coloured stone, whereas the rest of the building might be something more like river stone. So, if you watch some travel documentaries from southern France, you'll see that there's quite a few buildings in this sort of stone colour. And this would even work, this colour palette would even work for, say, Italy. Okay, as you can see, I've finished off the brickwork detail on the corners and between the floors. Now I've just need to get the chimneys painted. Now again, I'm just going to dry brush with a bit of the red oxide to just replicate the bricky colour that most chimneys are. And I'm doing this before I do the roof, as it'll make it easier to get around and ensure that the detail's painted, but not going over it. If I tried to paint the roof first, I would end up dry brushing down onto it and spoiling the roof, and I'd have to redo it. So yeah, So yeah, just as with the small brick red house that I did in the other video, yeah, just brushing down, using the red oxide, and aiming for as much bricky texture as I can get on. I'll paint down inside the chimneys black, just to give it a bit of depth. As you can see, there's not a huge amount of depth inside the chimneys. Remembering to get between the chimneys too. I just about missed down in here. Okay, for the roof tiles, I've mixed up a grey, just using the sand and some black. It's a reasonably dark grey, and I'm just going to brush this onto the tiles and cover the whole roof here. Again, I'm just aiming to work around the chimneys. Rightio, as you can see, I've gone ahead and finished off the roof. I've also painted the black inside the chimneys, and gone ahead and put some white around the front door, and painted the door blue just for a bit of interest. With the inking, this is exactly the same as we used on the small European house. I'm starting off here with black, but the difference is that I'm going to move in, I'm going to use some reddish tones as well on the various brick parts. Now, another thing you can do with the inking is anywhere where there's a slight overhang, you can use the inking to accentuate the shadow fall there. And yes, remember that the ink will dry slightly less obvious than what it appears when you first put it on the model. With the roof, you can also add a bit of rain streaking. It looks quite good once it's dry brushed, and sort of, again, it just adds a little bit of natural interest to the model. Could get quite heavy up around the tops of the chimneys. Obviously that's where you're going to have a lot of your smoke and things, so that it's quite good to get it nice and black near the tops. Sort of, maybe the owner's been burning some coal or something. Another nice thing to do here is to accentuate the water lines around and coming down from the chimney. The chimney's going to be the place where a lot of dirt and soot builds up, and so you could really go to town making the water streaking effect happen there. Okay, now we've added the lowlights with some black ink. We're just going to start to modulate some of the brickwork with some reddish ink. And again, it's everything's going to be tied together with the last final dry brushing, so don't worry too much about it looking a little bit strong. Again, this sort of just adds a natural character to what you've done, and you can sort of work in with some of the black work that you've done. Okay, now with the green, I'm going to be very sparing on the green, and gonna try and keep it fairly toned down. Not because I don't like it, but just don't want to go too over the top and make it look sort of overly patchwork. But the added colour just adds a bit of interest, and yeah. And I'm going to go through and do the same on all the walls. I've watered the green down a little bit more than the black and the red. And so it should be just a little more subtle. Okay. Our final step is the light dry brush. So once again I'm using my stiff, very fine bristled brush, and I'm going to gently hit all of the surfaces with the dry brush. And this is a pure sand, so yeah, I made sure that the model's nice and dry. All the paints on all of the surfaces is good and dry, and yeah, just get in there and give it that final dry brush. I will actually probably just do a bit of pure white on the end bricks as well. They just look like they'd probably really benefit from the lift that a white dry brush would give. But yeah, it'll just be these end bricks here, not the main walls. And as you can see, that's tied the inkwork together nicely, and looks quite nice. So yeah, I'll just carry on here and come back to you with the final dry brush of the corner walls so you can see that.